Okay, let's start with this. S&P 500 and Nasdaq are rising again after hitting all-time highs last week. Um, how do you think the rest of the week will pan out?
I think the week will be amazing. I want to be very clear. The companies that are doing extremely well, Nvidia, AMD, are rising. The ones that were doing okay are starting to get some steam. We were talking about it before we went live. A lot of companies are starting to retool what the next decade looks like. Since I started investing in late 08, 09, this is probably one of the strongest classes of companies that I've seen pre-IPO or publicly traded. I think that the consumers have gotten smarter than ever. I think this class of retail investors are almost as smart as institutional, which that gap has closed dramatically, in part due to this show. But I think the rest of this week, month, and year will be absolutely fine. I know some people have readjusted their targets, but I have the ES going to 66.44, 55 by September at the latest, and I think best case scenario for next year is 71.35.
Hmm.
This week is going to be fine. This quarter will be fine. This year will be fine. Hold for the long term.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's going to be a big week. It's already kicked off in a pretty nice fashion when we talk about some of the smaller cap stocks that we spoke about here. But I mean, you have the biggest hyperscalers in the world, part of the Max 7, which pretty much moved the market, are reporting. So you got Meta and everything that I've read, the earnings is going to blow out the quarter again. You got
Yep.
Microsoft, you got Amazon. And then, I mean, we mentioned Apple last, but think about 2 years ago if that would be the case, which is also important. And signs are showing that they're picking up some steam in China for the first time in 3 or 4
Years.
quarters. They are starting to see growth in China again. So all those companies that traditionally have moved the market will be reporting. Um, I expect it to be a pretty solid week. I know August is Friday, and traditionally August hasn't been great, and that probably see a pullback as we've seen a perfect week just happen, and we'll probably talk about that a little bit later, where every index had a positive week.
Mhm.
But these gains, this isn't something that's going to be a fad. This is going to be here for a little bit, so we should be definitely taking advantage of it, getting into some positions. I know we hate doing them all at all-time highs, and so always have reserves because there will be a pullback. But yeah, I
For
think this
sure.
week's going to be a good one.
And the August pullback that we normally get every year, we got in April. So we won't have as deep as it. Will we have a pullback? Yes. Will it be as deep as last year? Probably not. Given the change in who's running the White House.
Yeah.
But the dip that we normally would get in August, we got through April. If you made money from there, please put yes in chat. I love y'all, but that was a great entry point into the market for crypto, um, hyperscalers, tech, and even companies that are tech adjacent. I feel like the entire market is just running up from those April lows, which goes back to asymmetric risk to reward. And when is your margin of safety baked in? Please put that in chat. Like, where can you invest that it's almost guaranteed that the market does not go down further from that point? That week of April 8th was really that week for us. So, and more importantly too, don't worry about your investments week to week. You need to focus year to year, minimum time frame. But you really need to be looking at a 5-year period. I know everybody can't hold for 5 years, but if you don't, it's going to be one of the biggest mistakes that you make in your life.
Yeah, you know why it's important, and shout out to Sam. He put Celestica in the chat, and we were talking about it before the show started. There's something about the psychology when you enter an investment and it starts off positive. You just feel better, right? Whereas I've taken calls and it's down 10% within 2 hours, or it's down 15% within a week. So a lot of people who were in our options class and who were watching Market Mondays last month and were like, "Oh, I don't know what to do. I'm going to be starting now." To have some of these trades start off positive is great, but I agree with you, right? We're in these things for the long term, right? We're in this until 2026, late 2026, some of this 2027. But to start off positive always gives you the confidence that, you know what? All right, if I do the right research and I actually do the work, these can be some tangible results. So shout out to them. I see some people putting that day up in their AMD calls as well. Yeah, we're here for the long run, but starting off positive is important.